Okay, welcome everyone. Good morning and maybe good afternoon, depending on the time zones. So today we are in the 8th session of SAIMA. As you can see, Salesforce Architects in Making. Please note we are not an official group, but it's just Salesforce enthusiasts who have come together and started this group. The agenda of this group is to share the content with the aspirants who are going to prepare for technical architect. And if you have any ideas or if you want to host or present, please get in touch with us. Today's speakers, okay, we have a few speakers today and I see there is a small cut, but okay, I will introduce myself first. So this is Shruti Naliga. I'm hosting the session for today. Thanks, Johan, for giving me this opportunity. I am in Salesforce ecosystem since 2014, and I work as a Salesforce technical consultant at EVBox, and I've just started my technical architect journey. So currently I'm preparing for the application architect domain certification. And next I'll start with the system architect and so on. So we have 3 different sessions. So the first session would be interviewing Martin and Nadeem by Janida. I'll hand over to Janida for introduction. Janida.
Hello, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I will start my interview with Martin and Nadeem, and Melissa could not join because she has another time zone. She's in the US coast, East Coast. So I have recorded the video for later, but I will start first with interviewing Martin and Nadeem. Martin and Nadeem, please introduce yourself and tell us something about your role, about your background. When did you finish the CTA prerequisites and when was your due date? As well, I want to mention here, thank you so much for being here and presenting to us like how you failed, because I think failing is kind of a very, very sensitive topic. I mean, I have always the feeling I need to be in everything like brilliant, but at the end, failing is just another way of how we learn, and it's even maybe a better way. And whenever I failed, I even learned more the second time. So thank you so much for having the braveness to be here and to tell us something about your experience. I think it's very worth it. So please start, Martin, and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Martin.
Shruti, could you maybe stop sharing, then we see Martin full screen. Thanks.
Hey, I'm Martin. I'm based in Prague, Czech Republic. And I fulfilled the prerequisites in 2018, I think. And then nothing happened. And then finally this year I was accepted, or how to say it, into the CTA program, given the date. And it was nice because I failed quickly. I sit at the board on Wednesday, and I got the result on the same Friday. So there was not much stress between. That was nice. And
you did also a very nice video at Apex Hours, which is like, I mean, I thought like you know it all. I mean, how was
well, obviously not.
Yeah, but yeah, you never can have it all. But yeah, tell us something about also your experience on that day. What did you think was not working right, and how did you prepare for it? How much time did you have for it?
I started the CTA preparation at the end of May, if I'm not mistaken. That was the coaching with Flow Republic. I'm in the Salesforce ecosystem for last 8 years, and I'm in the IT software delivery ecosystem for last 25 years. So It's pretty hard to say how long you prepare for the CTA, because the actual super preparation was like 3 or 4 months. But I would say that those 20 years before were equally important, because I learned all the bits and pieces and the processes on which I could build during the CTA.
And you, Nadim, please introduce as well yourself and tell us something about your CTA when you did the prerequisites and your role and background.
Sure, absolutely. Been in the tech space for about same time as Martin said, 8 to 9 years. Started Salesforce, not actually is my first job, but I was into web service and stuff, but moved on to Salesforce in about 2014, I believe, 2013, 2014. And I actually went a bit far without having any certs. So I had no certs up to like 2 or 3 years into the platform. And then my manager came up to me and it's like, okay, we now want you to get to a lead role. So you got to have your certs and prerequisites. So I completed my all prerequisites for the CTA in around March of 2020 this year. And then I really didn't have the thought behind it if I want to go ahead and take the CTA, but I did have some plans that I wanted to pursue as part of my next role. And CTA then kind of, actually fit into that puzzle. So I took my review board in October 27th, I believe. Yep, 27th of October. It was a Tuesday. I think it was a good experience. Definitely, I prepared all alone, and I think that's probably one of the things that will change this time going in. I worked on all the artifacts that I needed as part of my architecture review board session, taking a lot of cues from what I've been doing in my day-to-day role, and talking with my previous manager, Christopher Baldo. He's been such an influence and such an motivator for me, at least on my journey. So learning a lot from him, watching a lot of YouTube videos that Johan used to post just to identify if I can fine tune my presentation and kind of make some amendments to the presentation style. And that's it. I think that was actually my preparation.
So did you guys plan like each week like 10 hours, and did you have, I mean, you just said it, Nadim, you did not have a study group, but Martin, did you have maybe a study group as well on top of your experience that you have?
Well, I've been part of the Flow Republic coach program. One of the things SAP wanted from us was to dedicate the time and put really the calendar. So I'm studying from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. Then I go to the office and so on. And I never did it because it doesn't work for me. I study when I want to study and when I feel like. So I didn't have dedicated blocks.
How many mock exams did
Yonida,
you guys do?
Yonida, one moment.
Yeah.
I'm extremely sorry to interrupt, but I thought, okay, I have to share one small thing. That is the disclaimer, which is very important for all the users, that we are not official Salesforce Architect Programming Group, but as I said, we are some Salesforce enthusiasts who have created. So please note as a part of disclaimer. It is all our personal opinion, whoever is sharing here. And for more updates, please make sure that you check the Salesforce documentation directly. Sorry about the interruption. You may proceed.
No issue. We can continue now. So, how many mock exams did you guys do, and tell us something about how the actual date went. Like, I mean, when you had the exam, was it like, did you have the time to really focus on the stuff, or did you felt like after the hours that you had that you would need even more time to explain stuff? Did you went too much into detail during your presentation, or were you a little bit too like not specific enough? What did you think was the issue there?
I can quickly touch on that. I think I did about 6 mock exams, if I'm not mistaken. The first one was brutal. I was so upset with myself. Like, I was not on time. I thought I will, no matter how much time I'll take, I finish it. I had decided that I will finish it under 2.5 hours. I took 3.5, which was brutal. I didn't want it to go, and like after 3 hours, I was like, I am not willing to move on with this mock, but I did finish it. But later on, it did start to pick up, started to get into the flow. The muscle memory kicks in slowly. And it was the same during the actual exam as well. I wasn't worried about if I'll be able to finish it or not. I was worried about doing it right. I do think there were certain aspects of or elements of the exam I focused a lot, which in hindsight, I think I could do better by not spending a lot of time on them and being a bit more concise. I think that's really
What,
important.
for instance? So what would you tell us to do, basically, to make sure that we are making it from the first time on?
I think if again, as Shruti said, right, my thoughts, my opinions, please make sure that you tailor it to your personality and preparation. But for me, at least, I'm more of a connected thinker. Like, I want to make sure things fall into place one after another as a domino clicks. But that's what I spent a lot of time doing. Actually, I focused a lot on how the business processes will tie together into the overall architecture and the data model and the security and the governance side of it, which meant that I did not hit the right spot on other areas because I spent a lot of time talking about them. So hindsight, I would probably make sure I give equal opportunity to each of these sections. And if there's still more time left, I will come back to the ones that I think I have not done justice to.
Thanks a lot, Nadim. And you, Martin?
I think I did something between 10 and 15 scenarios. And it kind of started to be repetitive. And the main challenge I have with the scenarios is that when I do it, I feel they are good. And I didn't have the chance probably to have the opponent for each of them.
But did Seb
someone who will challenge me.
Did Seb told you, okay, now you can go to the CTA, just do it, or you're ready?
That's pretty funny because I would say quite a lot might depend on the scenario as well. Because I think during I always wanted this to hear from him, and it was like during the fourth one, it was like, yeah, you are good, you can go. And then it was the fifth one, and it was like, oh no, it's like there is no chance. And then this was the last one, and it was okay. It made it challenging because it was like 2-3 weeks before the board date, and I was about to pay for it, or the company should pay for it, and they wanted to ask to hear from Seb first. And at the same time, he didn't want to say anything, so it was a bit challenging. And I was like, hey guys, I'm 2 weeks before the board date, and I'm not easily to be stressed out, but like you are saying, no, we're not paying, you should postpone. So I've been asking Susan, what does it mean to postpone on such short notice? And she was like, not the good idea. So it was all together.
Okay, so next time, what do you think, like when you are going like to do like in March or in half a year the next one, what are you going to make differently? What will be in your preparation now differently, and what will you focus more on? Nadim first, maybe.
Sure. One thing that I realized that as I kept doing the repetitive stuff every day, quite got a bit boring. So I'll probably find ways to make it fun again, because if I'm preparing, I'll have to start all over again. There's no place where you can pick from in this place or in this spot and then continue. So I'll try and make those repetitive revisions and mock exams a bit fun. And I think I would want to be a bit more honest with myself and find people who are willing to give that honest feedback to me that this is the area you are absolutely not there. So focus on this part because it's really important to get that feedback. So I'll find and seek people. One of the reasons I'm here in the group to talk about it is because if you guys are in that journey, let's collaborate, because we need to build that group and the feedback loop within the community to be able to support each other. And I think that was something that was missing from my preparation last time. So I would heavily engage in that bit.
And for you, Martin?
I still don't understand why I did what I did. So I will try to avoid that, because I intentionally skipped like 2 or 3 paragraphs in the case study. And I did it absolutely intentionally, and I still don't understand why, because that made the difference. Like every single paragraph is important, and I decided to ignore some of them.
Okay, so you thought like that's not that important, so I won't even
It's not
talk
relevant,
about it.
Yeah, it's some external system. It doesn't touch Salesforce, so yeah, okay, let it be.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But did you guys have enough time, or really knowing each kind of requirement that there was, and having the time to really make the design, the solution design there, or was it like you really had to struggle with the time and your preparation there?
I took it easily, and my feeling was that after an hour, if they will ask me, I'm about to be able to present. But then I spent the next 2 hours with more details and really work. And would I ask for the extra time, which I can as a non-native speaker, and which I didn't do, I would easily use the extra, I don't know, half an hour or how much they give. So yeah, one recommendation: take as much time as you can. So if you are a non-native speaker and they are willing to give you those extra 20-30 minutes, take them. You can always have one more coffee.
Oh, so you did not take this, right?
No.
That's too
I
bad.
was too proud.
Oh. Okay, so for next time, definitely. Okay, that's a good hint, though. Okay, so Pranil also told last time that he was like taking the first 11 minutes just to really visualize all the artifacts, to have the whole template together, and then he just wrote all the solution design requirements into it. Did you also do it the same way? Did you have like a really structured way of presenting stuff and of preparing the solution?
I had like 8 papers around me, one for all the integration stuff, one for all the objects, one for all the systems, the roles and actors, and few more. And my plan was to read every single paragraph and put the at least the name on the specific paper so I don't forget it later on. But as I read, I realized that I'm forgetting to fill in some of those papers, that there are too many of them. So I had to remind myself and go back. But at the end, would I not decide to skip those extra paragraphs? I feel like I really had all the systems and all the objects and all the integration patterns on the list. And it helped me to cross-reference all these things, that I really didn't forget anything.
Yep. I think something similar as well for me, but I kind of use the hybrid approach. I think anything that I could put on a PowerPoint, I did put on a PowerPoint presentation. Anything that required me to intricately draw something, I used a paper to draw that and then put that again on PowerPoint using a picture. So same for me. I didn't think. I did try that as well. Like, would I want to create some boxes and templates and tables, and then as I'm going through, just keep filling it? I realized after a couple of mock exams, giving or using that as an approach, it wasn't really coming to me. I wasn't really able to tie things together in a flow. So I decided that I will have a benchmark of this is what my artifact should look like at the end, but I wouldn't create a template for it.
Okay, so last question, because we do not have so much time, I assume. So 3 tips for other to-be CTAs. What would you say they should definitely do before going into the board? Martin.
I would say know the licenses by heart, including all the allowed objects, all the limits included in the license. That's one big topic. The second one is read every single paragraph fully, and every single one is important. And the third one is probably what Johan did and I didn't, is to, and I feel that that's the most important thing for me, is the Q&A, and have prepared the sentences and be prepared to be challenged and know how to handle like every single challenge you can be challenged with. Because yeah, as Nadim said, you need to be concise and you need to provide a lot of details. And that's the biggest struggle to me. You just muted yourself.
Thank you so much, Martin. By the way, I can really recommend the Apex Hours session that Martin has made on this topic. This is really awesome. Watch it, guys, because it will give you a lot of hints as well, not just this 2 minutes hints that he can give right now. Nadim, you go next.
Yeah, I think three things that I would personally do for myself as well when I'm doing sitting again for the review board. One would be make sure that I am extremely confident of the solution I'm presenting. I think there's another question as well in the chat, right? Is it important to be a big picture guy, or is it important to be detailed? I think you've got to be very confident about the solution, and you've got to be that T-shaped individual, right? Who is aware of everything that they've proposed at a high level. But if the judges require you to drill down into any of them, you should be able to drill down to the finer and nuanced nature of those requirements as well. So be confident about your solution and be very thorough about what you're presenting. That's one. Second, as Martin said, it's really, again, all of us are here, we're talking about things and we're talking to each other, multicultural community, right? But it's really important to communicate to the point. And I've seen that as a problem with me sometimes. And a lot of friends have given me that feedback as well. I elaborate things for no reason. So being to the point is really important. Those Q&As and those presentations really the most precious 45 minutes you'll ever spend presenting anything to anyone. So make use the best of that time. And the third would be, it's okay to fail. It's really okay.
Definitely.
Like,
I completely agree with that. I mean, failing
1%,
really,
like 0.5% of the people are not even passing, like they're attempting this exam, right? So it's fine. Don't be inundated or put so much pressure on yourself that you got to pass this. No, you got to learn this. You got to know and grasp all the knowledge you can take to be able to do the right thing at your job. That's why this exam is there. So make the most of this journey and learn as you go.
Yeah, I also think like, also when I watch my kids, I mean, they're failing all the time.
Yeah.
Also, Martin told this about his kids, right? Everyone knows that. They're failing all the time and they're trying all the time and they learn it. So this is how we need to also make sure that we do not have the fear of failing here, but we have the curiosity of a kid to just do it. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure for me to really interview you here. And I will now share a video from Melissa Shepard. She's also 26 times a certified architect and has her own business, and a very good role model for especially also women for that should run as well for the CTA, which I think. So bear with me, I will share my screen. Oh, I need first to be able to share my screen, Johan.
I will make you the...
You already probably know that. You need to make sure that you click the share sound checkbox.
But I'm not ready to, I cannot share my screen, it's deactivated.
One moment, I'm just giving you the presenter rights. In the meantime, I see there is one more question. Maybe you could answer that, both Nadeem and Martin. How many mocks have you both given before the examination?
Yeah, I did like 10 to 15, something in between.
Okay.
I gave 6 mocks, but I made sure after the mocks I'm going through the entire bit and preparing my solution key as well.
Okay, guys. So now I will present. 1 second. Do you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay.
I live in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm a Salesforce technical architect. My background is actually software development. I started doing software development about over 20 years ago, and then actually got into doing integration and architecture with Salesforce about 15 years ago. I passed all my prerequisites in the summer of 2018. I just did them all at once, I think within like 5 weeks. I actually have I did 19 certifications that year in 8 months while working and traveling and running a business. So that was really crazy. And I have 26 certifications that I've passed. One certification's been retired, so I have 25.
Which one is retired?
Mobile solutions.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. I would have liked to done that. Okay.
It was good. I liked it. I think it was a good one, and I kind of feel like they shouldn't have retired it. But anyway, so I started. So I was eligible for it in 2018, but I just stayed away from it for a while. And then I did my CTA 601 in April last year, and then I realized how much work and how much stress it was going to be to prepare. So I had too much other stuff going on with my business, and I stayed away for like a year and a half, and then finally decided that, okay, I think it's time to start working on this again, and then emailed for a date, and then I got a date 3 months after, and I was like, oh boy, this is going to be tough, because I knew that 3 months was a very short amount of time to prepare.
Yeah.
So I joined Flow Republic, which is great. It really helped me structure my studying, and but I really didn't put enough into it because I was working and I couldn't take time off. And a lot of my practice fell through at the end, and I thought a couple times about postponing, but we kind of went with, let's just see if you can pass based on experience.
Yeah, why not?
The example that you just can't pass on experience and knowledge. Yeah, it got me far. I still did well, I believe, but there were just some aspects I was missing that I would have gotten through the repetition of doing more mocks and doing more presentations and getting some more feedback. That's what I was missing. Everything else was fine, and my time management was fine. My artifacts are great. My presentation was good. All the things I was worried about not being able to do from the beginning that I thought would be hard, I actually did really well at. So yeah, it's just something you really have to practice for and make the time for, and I couldn't.
So how did you prepare? And I mean, you did have only this 3 months, and you did do a lot of mock exams. So if you did some with Flow Republic, right?
I did. Yep, I only did them with So I had a coach with Flow Republic. I did all the studying. So it's definitely not a lack of studying. I've done plenty of studying, probably too much actually. I think in some areas I went too deep where I didn't really need to focus on that stuff. There's just areas you really have to focus on and understand to a level where you can properly explain things. I didn't practice my explanations. I worked with a coach and I did 6 mocks, I believe, and they all kind of built up, but I really needed to do quite a few more end-to-end full-length mocks because those weren't even full-length mocks. Oh. And I worked through some other scenarios on my own smaller ones and I read through some, but that's not enough. You really need to be working with other people and getting feedback from multiple sources, which I was going to do, but my job got in the way because we were doing a production release at the same time that the review board was coming, and that just got in the way of me actually being able to prepare. So, you know, it's really a question of how prepared you are. That's what it's what. So.
Okay, so you also seem to be a wizard on artifacts, right? Maybe we should have another session where you can, or at least give me some tips how to do the artifacts.
Yeah, that was actually something that I struggled with last year. Like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to remember everything to include? And my feedback was actually that my artifacts have all the necessary detail and they were clearly drawn, and I actually have fun with them. I like to use all different colors and I get very detailed with my diagrams, and I like to use whiteboards. So I use small whiteboards and a medium-sized one for my system landscape to draw everything. And for me that works because I like to be particular and change things if I mess up. So I'll like if I did it on paper, I would end up redrawing the whole thing. So whiteboard for me.
Nice. And how was the actual day? What did you feel like? Did the judges were they helping you? Did you go too much in detail, or were you too general, or what do you think could you do better next time?
Yep. And I realized after watching some other mocks, which I didn't do either. I didn't watch any other mocks from any other people, which just watch as many as you can. Start watching them now and just see what other people are saying and what they're doing, and it will help you develop your own strategy and your presentation. So I was a little too general in some areas and I didn't explain enough, and I didn't properly walk through processes. So they really had to have me do that during QA. The QA is not awful. They didn't ask me anything I didn't know. They just asked me to explain things. And because I hadn't practiced explaining some things where I just kind of said, well, I'm going to use this. And then they would have me explain like, okay, how does this work with that? And you have to think about those things. You have to connect the things together and understand the full end-to-end process and explain those. So it's not enough to just say what you're going to use and what's the, even the security behind it, but how is it going to interact with other systems, and how is it going to interact with the users, and how are the users going to be interacting with the system. And so there's just a little bit more level of depth you have to get there. And that just comes with practice, like hearing other people, mimicking them, and doing it yourself. Mm-hmm. The day of, I was extremely nervous, and I think a lot of it was because I hadn't practiced enough and I knew that I wasn't fully prepared. So kind of became this thing where I was really basically terrified. Like, am I going to be able to do this? And I actually did a lot better than I thought. My prep was better than I had planned. My time management was great. I got through the presentation actually too fast. And then I thought afterwards, like, what did I miss? And it was just that lack of depth in some areas, like my integrations. I really need to go through them more. I had them all drawn, but I didn't really explain them well. And just in my data model, I didn't go deep enough into explaining how I was using out-of-the-box objects. That's something you really need to be careful of. Just explain how you're using things, because I was doing something in a way that was a little bit different than what you might think. And it was really because of experience on a project that I had. So I just didn't explain it enough.
Because for you, it was like, that's self-explaining. Right. I don't know. Yeah, okay. So you need to, you really need to mention everything.
Because in my head, it's like, this all makes sense. So it should make sense to you too. That no, you have to make sure you're stating your assumptions. And there was a lot of requirements in my scenario where you had to state a lot of assumptions and then explain things and kind of figure them out for yourself. They didn't give you all the requirements. You had to make the connections and figure that out on your own. So
Okay, so assumption making is a very, very important part for for the next time. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the future try, when are you planning it, and yeah, what are the topics that you will investigate next time more?
So I'm looking at hopefully trying to take it anywhere from April or beyond. So basically now I have to go back in line, and but if anyone does cancel last minute, there are those going to be opportunities where they might say, hey, we have an opening, do you want to take this? So I have to be prepared. So for me now it's less studying, but it's still study, but it's a different kind of study. It's not just reading documents and looking at stuff online. That's not going to get you there. I can trust me, because it didn't work. You have to study with other people, and you have to expand your thinking around things. So that's what I'm doing now, and that's what I'm going to keep working on. And I'm just going to keep working on scenarios and practicing, and just having more deeper discussion with other people, and also getting practice explaining things to other people or groups, because that's the experience you need to explain things to a judge.
Yeah.
And also what some of my feedback was more concise answers in Q&A, and that comes with practice. So working with other people that can help you keep things shorter and help you with the keywords you need to focus on, instead of adding all this other stuff in your answers that doesn't need to be, which is so easy to do when you haven't practiced and you're just trying to think. And so it just becomes a stream of consciousness.
So that was it from Melissa. She also told me that she actually did go to a lot of sales meetings to just practice like how to explain things in a simple way, because she's more from a technical background, and she might not really have this sales experience as many others of you. So I will hand over to Shruti. 1 second. Yeah, you can go on, Shruti.
Okay. Well, thanks, Martin and Nadeem. I think people will have some questions at the end of the sessions as well. So maybe I don't see at the moment, but we will be having an open discussion at the end of the session. Our next speaker, I would say, is Ranjini. She's a technical architect at UST Global, and she's going to shed some light on Health Cloud. Ranjini?
Yeah, hi team. Shruti, can you make me the presenter?
Yeah.
And share my screen.
You can share it now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, team. So good morning, good evening. So today we'll be going through Salesforce Health Cloud and its features. And about myself, I am Ranjini Janardhanan, and I'm working as a Salesforce solution architect at UST Global. And I am into Salesforce ecosystem since 2008. And I am a Salesforce certified system and application architect. Yeah, that's about me. And okay, you all can see my screen properly, right?
Yes, Ranjini, we can see your screen.
So what do you all know about Health Cloud? So Health Cloud is actually built on Salesforce. It's Salesforce platform itself. And it's like extends the core capabilities of Sales Cloud and Service Cloud. And in order to get this Health Cloud features like Health Cloud objects, Health Cloud capabilities, flow templates, lightning components, Apex triggers, everything related to Health Cloud, you will actually need to install the Health Cloud managed package. So we'll see that in later slides. And actually, who all can utilize this Health Cloud package? So for provider organizations, they can actually integrate the clinical data which are coming from clinical systems or electronic health records. They can actually integrate that data into Salesforce using standard APIs and map the messages from EHR systems to Health Cloud objects and manage it in Salesforce. And it can also be used for payer organizations. Payer organizations can actually utilize the Salesforce Health Cloud objects, record types, for managing the health insurance data model, the plan benefits, member plans, and the pre-authorization requests for the members and providers. And the medical device companies, they can improve their business predictability and sales performance by creating account level forecasts for multiple products. Okay. And as I said in the earlier slide, how to get the Health Cloud package in your org. So it's not like something that we can go to set up and enable. And it's also not like go into App Exchange and search for it and install it, but it's in a different way. So you will have to contact your account executive and get the contract signed for Health Cloud package. So in the contract, you will be getting the URL for the Health Cloud. So after that, and just before you are going to install the package, you will have to do some of the steps, like you have to allow person accounts in your org, and also you need to enable shared contacts and chatter, and you will also need to register my domain. And after that, you just click and install the package. So now you have the Health Cloud package with you. And now let's see what are the features that are inside our package. So let's unbox the package. So it will mainly have a managed package, which consists of specific Health Cloud objects and APIs and other capabilities. As I said, they are all directly built in Salesforce. And we will also get some additional packages. Mostly they are unmanaged packages for the development of some of the specific functionalities related to Health Cloud. And you will also get permission set licenses, which actually help users to access additional functionalities which are not part of their primary user license. And you will also be getting a set of permission sets. So as I said, there will be a managed package and some additional packages. We can see what are the additional packages that you will be getting. So there are a set of additional packages. So I have listed all the package details here. From the name itself, you can identify the purpose of the package. So they are, there is one for care request extensions. There is one for field service for Health Cloud, and for Einstein Analytics for Health Cloud, and for claims. And one is for app template for patients, and cloud reports for patient referral management, and an unmanaged package extension, flow templates, and one for emergency response management. Okay. So the permission sets. So we have a set of, as I said, we have a set of permission sets. I'll just go through some of the important permission sets. So the Health Cloud standard permission set, it is a permission set which gives access to basic Health Cloud features, including the Health Cloud console. And the next one is Health Cloud permission set license. Trust me, it's not a license, permission set license, it's a permission set. So it provides some extra access which are not covered under the standard Health Cloud one. And we have Health Cloud Foundation that gives read access to additional Health Cloud platform capabilities, mainly for provider management data model. And Health Cloud Member Services, it gives read access to health insurance and utilization management records. And Health Cloud Social Determinants, that is for access to Health Cloud social determinant records. And we again have a utilization management permission set, which grants read access to health insurance records, and it gives additional create, read, and update access to utilization management records. And we have this analytics platform permission set that is for Einstein Analytics for Health Cloud, and Health Cloud ERM, which is for permissions, which contains permissions for Health Cloud emergency response management. So seeing all these permission sets, either you can clone these permission sets and create your own and use it, or else I would suggest create permission set groups and use it as per the requirements. So permission set groups are really good for this, and we can make use of it in this scenario. Okay, so now we know what are there in the package. So we have gone through what are the things available in the package. So we can start actual designing the Health Cloud features with the package. So as a foundational step, I think it would say it's the most important step. We should be knowing how we are going to model our main data, that is member and provider. So how will we model our, what are the options that Salesforce gives to model our members and patients? Okay, there are two options: person accounts and individual accounts. Person accounts, I hope most of you know. It's kind of a combination of data from account and contact. Actually, when we see the person accounts, it's just an account, it's just a single record, but at the back end, Salesforce is actually storing the account and contact information differently. And in many situations, person accounts can also be used as contacts as well. And in order to enable person contacts, you will have to contact Salesforce support. And about this individual accounts, so this individual account record type will be there when you actually install the Health Cloud package. And the peculiarity of this individual account is as soon as we create an individual account, a contact record will also get created, and the contact will be linked to the account using an individual ID field. So Salesforce is giving two options to model members. You can actually take whichever as per your, you can decide as per your requirement. Yeah. And next, as I said, providers. So providers, when we say provider, again, we have two options. We can make use of person accounts here as well to model providers. And we can make use of traditional account contact model. So Health Cloud supports this providers to be modeled as contacts, but as we have enabled this shared contact model, you will need a primary account associated to the contact or provider. That actually when we model contact as a provider. And the same person account. So person account will be a better fit when we have scenarios like most of the providers are also a member. I mean, if you have that scenario in your project, so person account will be a better fit. Okay. So so the complete Health Cloud feature set, when as I already mentioned, Salesforce Health Cloud is built on Salesforce platform itself. So it's kind of when we say it is complete when we combine all these three feature sets like Salesforce Shield. So when it comes to Health Cloud, this platform encryption is of most important. So Salesforce field will need to be used for that. And the Salesforce Health Cloud features, I will be explaining some of the features in detail after this slide. And Salesforce Service Cloud. So contracts, and all the case features like case auto assignment, auto response rules, escalation rules, and queues like that. Okay, so this will. So let me walk you through some of the features. So I have listed some of the features here, but I'll try to. Okay. Okay, so hope you all can see my screen. I have just logged into my Health Cloud account. So as I said, this Health Cloud package will not be available for developer accounts. You will have to sign up for a trial org, a trial org for playing with this Health Cloud. So this is my Health Cloud trial org. I'll just show you the Health Cloud packages. Let me go to the installed packages so that you can view all the packages that I got as part of this trial org. So this is that primary Health Cloud package, and you can see the Einstein one for Einstein one, and you can see the extensions, claim extension one, and care request extension package, Health Cloud Flow, Health Cloud app template for patients. So these many packages we are getting as part of this. And yeah, so we'll be getting so many applications also. And the main one that we actually will be using, the Health Cloud one, you can also customize it, of course. And you will also need to use this Health Cloud admin one. Okay. So this, I have added some of the main tabs here. So let's just go through the patient 360-degree view. Okay. This, so we will be getting a patient 360-degree view. It has a lot of default components added. You can change it. You can customize it as per your requirements. But I just wanted to go through all of these features actually. So you will have a patient navigation. You can actually customize it, and you can actually, it's kind of favorites tab. You can add all the frequently used links over here, and you can customize it as per your needs. And the patient info, it's a standard highlight panel, and the patient card, which can be used to show the important details about the patient. It's like a patient card only. I'll be showing how can we actually configure the patient card and the patient details. And you will have this household functionality and the timeline functionality and the care plans. And we will also be getting some additional features, care team and care collaboration tab. So first, I just wanted to show you, we can, how do we convert the patients from, how do we convert leads to patient? It's like, yeah, it's just a click of a button. So we have this convert to patient button. You can assign the care coordinator and just, you can review it and just convert. Okay. So that lead got converted as patient. And okay, so we'll go through some of these features in detail. So okay, so as I said, we have this Health Cloud admin. Just let me open that. Okay, first let's go through this timeline configuration. For timeline configuration, let me open a timeline which has enough data. Okay, so this is a It's an exciting feature of this timeline feature. For a patient, what all activities that we need to track, or if we need to get a detailed view, and I mean in a grouped view, I would say, that we can configure in timeline, and how we will be configuring the timeline. Okay, so we have this timeline view configurations. I'll just show you all the configurations we have. So whatever we want to see as part of this timeline, we can add new records. I'll just open this prescriptions one. So we have, so here in this timeline tab, we will be taking the data from related EHR medication prescription, and the field will be Health Cloud GA underscore medication name. So that will be shown here. If we see a prescription, and you can add whatever details, and whatever is added in the timeline configuration as records, we can filter out all these. All the records will be shown here. We can filter, we can select whatever we want, and we also have an easily adjustable timeline view here. So that is about timeline configuration. And okay, next is care plan. Okay, so what is exciting about care plan is, so when we create a new care plan, and Salesforce is actually creating a case. So as I said, this is a combination of sales and service cloud features. We are making use of case here in this care plan. So related to the care plan, related to each care plan, we can add tasks, goals, and if there are any problems in goals, and also the care team. Okay, and when it comes to care team, if you need to create an external user, or if you need to add an internal user as care team, that is possible. And when you open the care collaboration tab, you will be getting kind of 360-degree view of the care team, and you can add the care team from here. You will also get a pop-up here. I'm not sure. You will get the details. Yeah. Okay, you can remove the care team member, and if you have enabled CTI and live agent, you can directly chat from here itself, and you can edit the member, and you can even create a task for the member. So that is about care plans. And next, coming to household. Yeah, so this household gives you the entire relationships of that patient, even if the related members or the care team, or if there are any related accounts as such. So, and this household is actually making use of the account relationships and account contact relationships. So all these you are seeing are like account relationship, each household. So when you add a new household, it is actually going to be an it is actually going to be an account contact relationship. Sorry. And you can also add a member. So when it's a new household item, it is going to be an account relationship, and when you are adding a member, it is going to be an account contact relationship. Okay, so from this you will be getting the complete picture of the patient. And the next one is patient card. So patient card configuration is also very simple. So you can see there are some information added on the patient card. Okay, let me show you how can we actually customize the patient card configuration. Okay, so it's again like adding records in this patient card configuration. And so you can add what all informations are related, what all informations you need here. So you can, this has an order also. Give me a second. Sorry, team. Okay, so you can add what all information needed needed to be shown on the patient card here. I'll just open one as a related person. Okay, so this related person information is coming from EHR related person, and the field, from which field the value we are showing here. Okay, so I can just show you. The related person is the first one, the language is the second one. So everything is coming as per the order that we are giving. That is also we can control here. Okay, and we can remove it. If we need to remove one, we just need to delete that particular record. So that is so easy to configure the patient card. And finally, I wanted to show you one more feature, that is provider search. This is also part of, it's also a main feature part of provider search, easily customizable and very useful as well. So this is something, as I said, part of the package, and we can control whether we have to show these fields, or whether we have to add more fields, or whether if needed to remove the fields. That is also possible. There is also an advanced search. Even we can control what all fields should be there on the advanced search and the and this normal search. So if we are searching with, sure about that. Okay, so if we are searching for the provider, it will be bringing all the providers and the practitioners actually. And the practitioners, actually I was searching for this Great Health Clinic, and it was giving me the clinic details and the practitioner details working under a Great Health Clinic. Okay, so I will show you how can we actually customize it. Let me go to. Okay, so you have to enable this provider search config, and once you enable, you can add care search config if you need to add a new field. So the one thing that you need to take care is the data should be part of two objects, that is healthcare provider and healthcare practitioner facility. Okay, so make sure the data that needs to be searched and mapped are part of these two objects. I'll just show you how I have done. Okay, and we actually get the results, and we the search results are based on another object, that is I should go to the object manager. Okay, so this is the particular object that controls provider search. All the fields, so we will have this will have a set of fields already available, and that we can add here, add or remove in here in the screen. So if you need to add a new field, so I have a new field added, that is provider class, that is coming from healthcare object. Okay, so you will also need to create it here. That particular field, you will be forced to give another API name, but you can give the same label, and you have to go to the configuration again. So you can give the name and label, and from which object you are going to map. either a healthcare provider or healthcare practitioner facility, and the source field. The target field means the field that we created in the search in the object, search result object. So once you add that, that will be available for selection in the provider search. Okay. Yeah, this will be available. Either you can save it or you can delete it. We can add the fields either only in the search or in the advanced search. So if we delete it from search, it will be available on the advanced search. Okay, that is again a very nice feature of Health Cloud. And using this particular provider search, we can mainly make use of this. One of the main feature that I felt is we can make use of this distance feature. It will be very useful in provider search. So if we try to customize this option, in order to bring this distance option, we will have to integrate with Google API. It's again additional cost. So if we are using this provider search, it will be very helpful. It's available out of the box. You can use this distance component, and we will also be getting this map option here. That is also out of the box. And yeah, that is about provider search. And I think I have covered most of the features that I have explored in Health Cloud. I know there are a lot of features yet to be explored, but still I hope all of you have got an idea on like what are the basic features that I put at least. And so next, okay, so there is a very good, there is a very good trial and the Trailhead, which has all the details about this Health Cloud. And we also have this Health Cloud developer guide. Okay, so this is the trial I have included in the PPT and the link. So it has all the details. Mainly it is we have a module called Health Cloud Data Models. This will be very important and very useful to understand the entire Health Cloud model, whether it is clinical data, whether it's provider data model, or it's care, everything, member data model, everything. This module is very important. And this is the Health Cloud developer guide. Of course, this will be the Bible for the developers. Yeah, and we also have community groups for Health Cloud for getting the for asking the questions and getting the answers. Yeah, that's it. And thanks, team, and thank you, SAIMA, for the.
Ranjini, there are two questions if you could answer maybe.
Yeah, sure.
The question was when to use a person and when to use individual account. And should we use provider object or a person account? So there was one point you were displaying about the person object. Yeah. So those
Yeah,
are
so actually I mentioned that these are the two options that Salesforce gives. Okay, and you can actually select according to your requirements. So personally, when we had to implement this Health Cloud, we actually ended up using person accounts because of some requirements. We wanted to separate this kind of separate the member data from accounts. So if we are using account, member will also be in account data. So with person account, we could kind of isolate it from account, even though we will have to relate relate it with other account like providers or some providers and all. But person accounts was the one that we used. But both are good for modeling members. You can choose according to your requirements. That's what I would say. And it's the same case for person accounts. So providers. So person accounts will be a good fit if you have a lot of scenarios that you have to consider all your providers as members. So, but in that case, person accounts will be very useful. It will be good to go for person accounts. Is it clear?
That question was from Birisha. Is it clear for you, Birisha, or do you have any other question? Okay, I don't think there is any other question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, great. If you could.
Yeah, okay. Let me make you the presenter.
That was a great session, Ranjini. I'm pretty sure everyone enjoyed it because this is for the first time, at least I have seen the Health Cloud. So thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you, team.
Okay. Moving on to the next session. Of course, there will be a Q&A, and Ranjini is around if you have any other questions. Our next speaker is in Canada, and that's why he couldn't join, is Adrian Radzikas, and I'll introduce him. So he's basically from Argentina, and currently he's living in Canada since 2005. He has been in multiple triathlons, and he started as his career as a project manager, and then he started getting interested in developing, and he started the certifications with Salesforce Developer 1. And in 2016, he started his own consultancy named waytogo.com. And the interesting thing about Adrian was he once he started his Salesforce career, he got 12 certifications in 6 months. So that is quite impressive. And today he made a video for us, which gives more information about the OAuth flows and API calls via Postman. I'm gonna share my screen again, and it's a video. Just let me know if you're able to see my screen. And I will play. Just please confirm, maybe Johan or anyone. If you just confirm if you're able to listen, then I'll play it fully.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone here on.
Yeah, all working.
Great.
Thanks.
SAIMA Group. My name is Adrian Radzikas. I would like to thank you all for being here today on this presentation, and a special thanks to Shruti for that great introduction and to Johan for letting me present this topic today. I'm going to be talking about authentication flows and API calls using Postman. I have a session packed for today with lots of use cases to show you on how to use the username and password flows over SOAP and REST, as well as the web server flow and the user agent flow. So before I start, let me make this PowerPoint a little bit smaller so that you can get to see my Postman here. And I'm going to be running through all these different calls here through my presentation today so that you can see how you get a response from Salesforce on each of these cases and what is basically the body, the parameters, and all the settings that you need to configure to do that. So let's get started with this, and let's move into the next slide. I'm going to be starting with username and password flow, and let's go into the authentication part of this. So basically, for this demo, what I've done is I created this development.
Yes, yeah, can you please mute yourself?
Of course.
Or Shruti, can you please? Thanks.
Yeah, everyone is muted. Okay.
This is a password visible to all, and also I have the refresh the token that I obtained, and it has to be appended into the password. So let me try this out here. If you would like to try this on your own, I capture all these settings in here so you can take the presentation and do that on your end as a test. Okay, so let's, actually there's an error in here. This should be login, not instance. Okay, so let's connect to, what you will do is basically copy and paste this whole body, SOAP body, and configure your username and password. Let's hit send, and of course you get a response in there. So in this case, since we are playing with a SOAP, and this is a username and password, you get a session ID in here, which I'm gonna copy, and we will use it for testing the next call that I have in here. That's gonna be, let's move into the next one here, and that is gonna be running a query through SOAP. So the one thing in here that we need to take in consideration is that now here in the body, if I will call this body with a demo, with an invalid session ID, it will give me that error. So let's make sure that I paste here that same session ID that I got on the previous call. There we go. And then the other thing, if I go back to the previous one, you also get the my domain, the URL that you need to use in this case for your subsequent calls. So let me copy that as well so that I can paste that. There we go. Let's copy all the way up to salesforce.com. And let's go back to my other here and make sure that I got that right. There we go. So we got that URL. You need to switch it to services/SOAP/C and the version of that SOAP API and append that session ID. So let's hit send. And of course, we get a response with all the different accounts here. So that was the second case that I wanted to show you today. And the query is built in here. So if you will add additional things, let's say I add the phone and take the account name and number out, hit that again, it basically sends that information in there. So it's just that style, which you can get here again from the presentation. Let's move on into the next case. So what we will do here is create an account. So once again, let me take that same session ID in here and let's paste that session ID into the body. The only consideration in this case will be that you need to use this body in here and pass that information. So what I'm gonna do is let's change this to a dummy account. There we go, and let's send that off. Perfect. So we got the response and we got the account ID that that account was created with. Okay. Moving on, I have two more cases that I wanted to show you. So on the next one, we will query an account using SOAP, and here, what we will do is we have a query. So we will pass that new ID, account ID that we just created. And then the other thing that I'm gonna paste is, again, my session ID. There we go. Okay, and let's see if I get that dummy account as a response. There we go, that worked well, that's an easy one. And last one that I want to show you is how to consume a web service from inside the SOAP code. So what I've done for this, I already went and created an Apex class in Salesforce, a very simple Apex class that I pass an account ID and it returns the ID name and description for that account. So let me show you the body on this case. I'm gonna append that session ID first of all. There we go. And the body, what you're gonna be doing is basically calling the method name, in this case, get account by ID, which is the same method that I have in Salesforce. And account ID is the parameter that you're passing, which basically you encode that as a node in the SOAP body. So we hit there and basically we get a response. Oh, actually, that's a different account. Let me pull the one that we just created, dummy account. There we go, and pass that on to here. I just wanted to get, instead of my ABC test account, get my dummy account. There we go. So we can see that it works, and we are consuming this Apex class that it's basically had been created in Salesforce already. Okay, so that's basically all with SOAP calls. Let's do the same thing using REST APIs. So I'm gonna move into my next slide, and let's move here as well to this call. So this changes a little bit in here. So the only difference, before I start onto this, I forgot to mention that the headers that we use for all the SOAP calls are these two guys in here. You need to set the content type to text XML, and you need to set the SOAP action to null, like that. If you don't set these, it's going to give you an error when you try to connect. So make sure that you have those headers set up so that you can get a proper response back. So back to here, the only difference is that we don't have any headers. We are just passing parameters into Salesforce. So we are going to be testing the username and password, same thing. So we have these parameters that we need to make sure that are included. Grant type password, the client ID and client secret. So you will need to create a connected app in Salesforce. I already did this in the benefit of time and got the client ID and the client secret loaded up. And of course, I got my username and my password with the refresh token in there. So I'm gonna hit that endpoint. Be careful of that endpoint that it's capturing here and go next. And what you will notice in here is that you will get your access token that we will use for all the subsequent calls. And also as well, you will get the my domain instance URL that you need to use in subsequent calls as well. Okay, so let's move into the next one. There we go. And in here, what I would like to do is basically get all my accounts. So in this case, now that we have an access token, we can drop all the parameters that we used before. This is a get call. The previous one was a post. And then we are going to be adding one header here, which is an authorization header. We need to basically punch in that access token after the word bearer. And we're going to be using a standard API to get all the accounts, retrieve all the accounts. And there we go. This, you basically get all those accounts created in Salesforce after doing that. So again, that's an easy one as well to test, but I just wanted to share how that will work. Moving into the next case, let's insert an account now. So the way to insert an account, it's going to be pretty much the same. So first of all, we only have one authorization header. Let's paste that. And now we have a body in here. So that body could be XML or could be JSON, whichever you prefer. So in my case, I'm going to go with this one here, XML. And let's create an account called dummy account number 2 and go send. Perfect. So that gave me a 200 response. So it's successful. I'm going to copy that ID. And let's move into the next one in here, which is running a query through REST API. And in order to do that, what you will need to do is basically enter your query in this format with a parameter name Q. And then the other thing that we need to do is, once again, get that header with the bearer token. Okay, headers here. Let me paste that. Let's give it a try. Okay, so that worked well, and I'm retrieving all the accounts in the system. And finally, the other case that I wanted to do in here is consuming a REST service that I created in Salesforce as well. So again, I pasted the code in here so you can go ahead and create this on your end. And this basically it's retrieving information on an account. It's a get call what I implemented. So let's consume that through this call. I'm going to show you how to do that. So basically, same idea. We have one header authorization with a bearer and a refresh token. And the only difference in here is I'm basically the instance for my domain is NA139, but I can basically switch that with TBD, whatever it is in there. It's the same thing, but what you're going to be changing here is going with this path services Apex REST, and this is going to be the name of the class that you implemented in Salesforce. So that's the URL mapping. So that corresponds to that. So if you change this to be 123, you will change that in there. And that's basically it. So let's send that, and you are basically getting a response. We are getting this account Genie point, but let's change this. Let me get here this ID for Dickinson PLC. So I'm gonna get that, and on the URL, as you can see on the code, this is expecting one parameter. So I'm gonna change this to that ID instead for Dickinson. So let's run this again, and we get that account in there. And this is all done consuming that web service that we built. So now we can move into web server flow. This is gonna be a little bit more interesting. I'm assuming that you all know about how web server flows work. I'm just gonna be demoing and doing this same hands-on exercise in here. Okay, so let's jump into this one, and let's go to the parameters in this case. So this, in order to test this, it gets a little bit tricky. So what you need to do is have those main parameters. But in order to execute this, the only way to try this is by going send and download. And that basically creates an HTML that I'm gonna execute here. There we go. And here, what I'm going to do is log into my account, demo.com, QQ. There we go. So if everything works well, as soon as I hit login, the one thing that should happen is Salesforce should need to confirm the scope. So let's give it a try. There we go. So it's working great. So Salesforce is requesting that consent. So I'm going to go allow, and this is taking me to the callback URL that I have set up on that connected app. So there we go. Now, what I would like to do next is exchange the code that we got for an access token. So let me get the code from here. So you can see on the URL that it's giving that parameter. So I'm going to copy that code and come back to my second call. And what I will do is you will actually need to have these same parameters set if you are going to be testing this on your end. Let's go ahead and change that and paste the code that you just got from the response. You need to change this encoding and change that to be equal. You need to pass your client ID, client secret, and let's hit send. So there we go. We got our access token with a web server flow. So let me copy that whole access token so that we can test the next few things. There we go. That's all completed. Okay, so let's move into the next one here, and we can try consuming the same REST service as I had before. Okay, so the difference in here is that we are pretty much back as the same examples that I was showing before. So we are going to be, instead of, right now we are having no parameters. We have the access token already. So what I will do is I will simply paste in here that access token that I got on the step before. And then let me also get that same account, Dickinson, also in here. Perfect. So we got the new access token, the Dickinson account, and let's give it a try. Perfect. So that's working great. Let's keep going through the presentation. Sorry for going that fast. Time is of the essence. I know that it's pretty short time. So, okay, so in this one, what I would like to do next is revoke that web server token, that access token that I got through the web server flow. So the way to do that is we need to call this endpoint auth2/revoke, and we have to pass one parameter with a full access token. So let's give it a try. Oops, that was not the access token. Let's get the access token from here. And once again, let's paste it. Oops, sorry for that. Okay. There we go. So now let's hit that, and we basically got a number one. That's a true, successful. So if I hit this API in here again to get the Dickinson account, it will reply with an error saying that the session has expired. So that's properly revoked that access token. And the one last thing that I would like to show you next is how to exchange the refresh token that we got at the very beginning for a new token. So you can see that we were using that access token, which we revoked already, no longer valid, but we still got that refresh token. So let's try to exchange it for a new access token and see how that works. So let me take those things out, and we can go back to this here. So we can see the parameters now in this case. So the grant type is going to be asking for a refresh token, client ID, client secret. And now we need to paste that refresh token. So let's do a trick. Let's add 2 X's in here. So if I hit send, I should basically get that message saying that's a wrong refresh token. Let's take them out again, and perfect. So it worked great. So we are getting a fresh and new access token that we can continue to use. And let's make sure that this access token works before we move into the next thing. And I have this last call in here to test it out. Oops. There we go. And to delete that. And again, we are going to be testing the Dickinson account. Let me get the ID, go back and paste that ID. Okay, hit send. There we go. We still get the Dickinson account. So one last thing that I would like to show you today, let's move on. And this is the user agent flow, which works pretty similar to the web server flow. There's only one difference, that instead of asking for a code, I'm basically asking for a token directly. So in this case, to test this out, we need to do the same trick, which is saving this as an HTML, and let me replace existing one and execute this. So I'm gonna log in, and in this case, it's not going to ask me for the scope. My mistake. I have to check what's happening there. But anyways, you can see that we got the full access token. So let me copy this whole thing once again. And I have this very last call to check whether that access token that I got as a parameter works well. So let me paste that. And once again, let me push the ID for Dickinson account. So there we go. Let's give it a try. Valid header type. Okay, so here, what we need to do is there's an encoding issue. So I see that these here have to be encoded differently. So let me find UTF encoding percentage 21. So let's see what's corresponding for that. So that's exclamation mark. So let's go back here and let's switch that for an exclamation mark and let's give it a try again. There we go, we get a response. So that's basically everything that I wanted to show you today. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you very much, all of you. And I would like to leave you with something so that you can take it to the next level. If you check this link in here, it's a full collection of APIs to connect with Salesforce. And this goes way beyond what I presented today. There's it presents its examples for bulk API, async queries. I totally suggest you check this out. And well, you are more than welcome to send me any questions if you have at this email in here. Thank you very much all for your time today and hope you have fun playing with this. Take care.
That was Adrian, guys. If you have any questions, of course, for Adrian, please, one more informative session. Great. Thanks, Manikandan. Well, if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute and let me check if Nadeem is around, because Nadeem and Ranjini both.
Hey, hi, Shruti. Can you please post that link on the chat?
Yeah, it will be posted. Yes. Hello. Nadeem, are you still around?
Hey, I'm here. Sorry.
Yeah, great. So guys, if you have any questions for Nadeem, please feel free to ask. But I have a question, Nadeem, for you in the meantime.
Yes, please tell me.
So everyone is talking about the artifacts, right? So these artifacts, are they like decided, are they provided that these are the artifacts that you have to prepare, or is it like you decided that, okay, these are the artifacts that I want to share, or is there any mandate that it, like there is a list already provided by Salesforce which says that, okay, the data model and everything is supposed to be there or is mandatory or something like that?
Yeah, so I think I think a lot of it can be derived from the documentation that exists, right? But again, personal style is really important. For me, there are a few things as an MVP or a minimum viable set of artifacts that you need. You definitely need your data model. You definitely need your system landscape. You definitely need your role hierarchies. You need to be able to identify which are the key integration elements and how you're going to tie them together. Either you can do it using a diagram, or you can do it in the best way you have done it over time. So that's what I incorporated. I did my own personal style based on all my presentations that I've been doing for my client ARBs or our internal ARBs. I've pulled those artifacts from them. Some things such as integrations can be very easily conveyed using a table. So I did tables for them. So again, definitely, if you watch a lot of mocks out there, there is nothing new within the artifact side that you'd have to create. Same patterns, Johan's videos, some of them are there from the Ladies Be Architect channel. They have a similar pattern. So these would be enough artifacts for you to go and prepare and do your final review presentation.
Great. Any other questions, guys?
I think it's also just one thing to add. I have been talking to a lot of other people who've attempted the review board and maybe Johan can add that on that as well. You got to make sure that they are limited set of artifacts. You don't want to be going in like 20 artifacts or 15 slides, which you may not be able to talk. You got to make it dense. You got to make it relevant. So just keep those two concepts in mind. That would really help.
Great. Do you have a list of artifacts which you have created or you made sure that are there, or
Yeah, so there are some base ones, as I said: data model, system landscape, integration drawings, or my auth flow diagrams that I would have to present based on, let's say, if there is a single sign-on use case, I will do that. But these are the 4 or 5 things that I would have irrespective. But the remaining ones, say for me, it was about 8 to 9 slides that I created at the end. The remaining would depend on what the scenario is. My hunch is that based on your scenarios, you might want to be, flexible around some of them. But
yeah,
data model and integration manifest and system landscape and your introduction should be a bare minimum. It's a must-have. You cannot deal or you cannot present or go in without it.
right? Great. Okay. I guess if there are no questions.
Also, I would add one thing to it: the licenses, role hierarchies, and deployment diagram would be something that I would consider.
Yep, agree. Role hierarchies, deployment based on if you're solving a problem, if you're just indicating that this is the plan, it's also important.
Right. Great. Any other questions, guys, from the participants? Because I don't see anything in the chat. So we'll give another minute for that if anyone has questions. Otherwise, I guess we will be good to close the call.
Then from my side, thank you very much, Ruti, and all the presenters today. Thanks, Ruti, for our first time host. Thanks for all of you staying with us. It was almost 2 hours on a Saturday. Very impressive.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.